prescription drugs? Do you wear your seatbelt? Do you speed? And if you are elected, do you promise not to do these things? Or to do what you should and not do what you shouldn't?
First off, I'd like to, let me tell you, Johnny White was a close friend of mine, and I would much prefer that we remember Johnny White for what he did for the children of Bossier City and the citizens of Bossier City, instead of remembering him for one mistake he made in which he suffered the ultimate consequence.
Lynn, what is the most important qualification that you have to serve as a Bossier City Marshal, as the Bossier City Marshal?
I think probably the most important qualification I have is I've served over many different divisions, and not only being the police chief, but when I was the CAO, I was in charge of the utilities department for a while, the recreation department, the fleet services department, and also again with the police department. And management's management. Management's job is to supply the goods and needs and the services for the people that work for you. Then get out of the way and let them do their job. And not to micromanage those people. Make sure that they're properly trained, make sure that they're properly equipped, make sure you have the right amount of people for the right job, and that you distribute those people equally. And that has not always been done, and it's been a problem. Because if you've got 40% of the workload on the evening shift, and you've only got 30% of the people, and you divide your department 3 ways, then those people on the evening shift are doing 40% of the work with only 30% of the people. And I think management's management, and the organizational skills such as planning, organizing, directing, controlling, budgeting, reporting, things like that are important no matter where you go. And I found out that I didn't know the difference between PVC or PCB when I went to utilities. But I do know about people, and I know how to get people to work for me. That comes in with coaching, or whether you're managing a group of people. It's just all about managing those people. And it doesn't matter. Management is management. You have to have some knowledge of it, and you'll gain that knowledge over a period of time. But the people that are doing the work are the ones that make you look good or look bad. So you train those people properly, then get out of the way, and don't micromanage everything I do. I look at results. I don't look at the little minute things. I look at the results. And if they're doing their job, you'll know it. If they're not doing their job, you'll get the calls. Thank you.
Carl, believe it or not, I have one directed to you. Why did you leave the Bossier City Marshal's office?
Well, when I started in the Marshal's office in '92, I got to meet a lot of people. Got to meet a lot of people in Shreveport. Shreveport people would come to Bossier. We'd work warrants. We'd serve their papers. They would serve our papers. And we'd go to Marshal's conventions all over the state. Well, I got to know a lot of people in Shreveport and Baton Rouge and New Orleans and Ruston. And I got to know Jimmy Dove. Jimmy Dove was doing the seizures in Shreveport and was doing it for, I think, 16 or 18 years. And he's the one that kind of taught me how to do the seizures in Bossier, because when Marshal White took over, no one in the office knew how to do the seizures. So we kind of learned from Shreveport on how they did it, and they taught us. And me and Jimmy Dove had a very good relationship. And when he ran and became the city marshal in Shreveport, he said he needed someone to take over doing his job, and I did such a good job in Shreveport, he wanted the best in the city, so he hired me to come over there. So I left Shreveport, Bossier, and went to Shreveport. Of course, it paid a little bit more money, but it was a whole lot more work. In Bossier, I did about 60 repossessions a year. On Shreveport, I started off at about 400, and last year I did 600 repossessions last year. So it was a whole lot more work than what goes on in Bossier City. But I only did the repossessions. In Bossier, we did repossessions, we worked court, we served papers. You were a jack of all trades in Bossier City. In Shreveport, I couldn't do all that other stuff. You didn't have time. When you're doing 60 or 70 repossessions a month, you didn't have time to do anything else. That's the only reason I left. Me and Johnny White got along fine. Johnny White's son's wife, Kelly, was in our wedding. My wife was in their wedding. We got along fine. Johnny graduated high school with my mother from Bossier High School. We've known each other for a long time. It wasn't anything about this or that. I didn't get fired. I resigned on the 31st of December of '96 and got hired by Jimmy Dove on the 1st of January of '97. I left on good terms. I didn't leave on bad terms. It was just a change in job. I still love Bossier City. That's why I've never left.